notification was one posted on the bulletin board outside Borough Hall, 2 mailed to the Gazette, Courier News, and 3 given to the clerk administrator. Roll call, please.
Chairman Novato?
Here.
Ms. Rosinski? Here. Mayor Sullivan?
Here.
Councilman Broom?
Here.
Ms. Adair?
Here.
Mr. Akins?
Here.
Mr. Carsko?
Here.
Mr. Karstedes? Mr. Cleveland?
Here.
Mr. Addicks? Ms. Warner? Here.
Okay, pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of the minutes for April 26, 2023.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any additions or corrections? Okay, Jenny.
Chairman Novato?
Yes.
Ms. Rosinski?
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilman Broom?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Mr. Carsko?
Yes.
Mr. Cleveland?
Yes.
Ms. Warner?
Yes.
Okay, we have one ARB approval for school block moving from the corner of Main and Bridge to Davenport Street.
I move we approve it.
Second.
Any discussion?
Chairman Novato?
Yes.
Ms. Rosinski?
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilman Broom?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Mr. Carsko?
Yes.
Mr. Cleveland?
Yes.
Ms. Warner?
Yes.
Okay, we've got a bunch of things that came up this week, and I said to Jenna, don't put them on the agenda, we just have them for items not on the agenda, and most of it's housekeeping. Today, you all got copies of the letters that Mike sent to the Borough Council about the 2 ordinance changes we discussed at the last meeting. And does anybody have any additions to the ordinance?
I just made that one.
Yeah, the plan is from grades on the recommendations. Deidre thought, on the last page, or the second to the last page.
Number 3.
Yeah, in addition to the above stated change and modifications, we're talking about the cafes. The board also recommends the following be incorporated into the ordinance. Tree grades should be eliminated at paved sidewalk level to eliminate tripping hazards. It really should say tree planters should be eliminated. We're talking about the planters.
Right.
So,
I knew what it meant.
yeah, so did I. So, Kevin, if you've got that, it should be tree grate planters, not grates.
Are we putting in grates around the new trees?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
putting
so
grates
I don't want them to
4x4s.
think we're supposed to pull those out.
Right, 4x4s which are
Good
flush,
point.
trying to open up areas. The planters
Yeah.
take up a lot of space.
So I just didn't want
Yes,
people thinking
I
we're
understand.
pulling the new grates out.
Okay, the next item I want to talk about are the recommendations from the, what was it, Stormwater Committee.
Yes.
I hadn't put that on the agenda yet because I thought that the DEP new regs were gonna be coming out pretty soon, and they're due out on Monday. I believe it's Monday, isn't it? 15th.
That's wonderful.
And I think instead of going through it at this point and then having to go back through it again, we should wait until we have an opportunity to review those. And I'd also like to review the entire borough, wherever the flood hazard area is, because we've got lots of other areas that need some recommendations. You know, the entire south side of town floods. Everywhere along Peters Brook is at risk. And, you know, we've got businesses on the south side, residents on the south side, and it becomes a problem for our first responders and for the people who live and work there. And I think it makes a whole lot of sense for us to look at it comprehensively, borough-wide, and come up with some recommendations. And that may involve changing some of the bulk standards. It may involve changing some zone lines or recommendations to rezone. And what I would like to do is for you to authorize Mike to come back with a proposal to do this. Because we need somebody with some expertise to.
So I know from the, and Roger, correct me if I'm wrong, I think from the committee that was put together that I was on, Roger chaired from the council, and this was the first recommendation from that committee. And it was kind of waiting, and it said, okay, let's see where they direct it, and then we'll attack the rest of town based on the conceptuals from the council and the planning board and the recommendations, rather than attacking the entire town all at once, and then it hitting planning board or the council, and then completely shooting it down. So we don't like any of it. So kind of use one area, the worst hit area, see where everybody lied with it, and then the committee was supposed to continue on once we had feedback from the planning board and the council. So I don't know if things have changed from any perspectives of the council, the town, on that. That was my understanding of it. If I'm wrong, that was
the goal of the organization of the committee was to start with a small scope, because at the time we had 5 resolutions that came to our table that were going to grant the developer the ability to cover 90% of the ground, and we've all read them, which was what's the word I'm looking for? Negligent? Something along those lines.
ill-advised.
Yes, so we came up with it, and we realized that it was limited in scope, but based on those 5 ordinances, or resolutions, we wanted to pare it down and see where this group felt that it lied, so that way we could move forward. We got a lot of great people on that, of which Mike is a part, and we were looking forward to getting back together, because obviously, as we just saw with our last rainstorm, Southside Park was again overrun with water, and we had to do a water rescue from a gentleman who decided that it was safe to drive through water. So these are things that we need to address sooner rather than later. I don't mean to be glib about it, but these things happen. You're always supposed to drive through water, I was told. No, wait, that's wrong. Always turn around. That's right.
Especially when you see cones in the road.
No, those don't mean anything.
Yeah,
So that's kind of the goal.
I don't disagree with that, Roger. And what I'm saying is that, the process may take longer, but we need to start doing it, and we need Mike's expertise in order to do this. So I would like to be able to authorize him to come back with a proposal so that we can reasonably compare the new regs with what we have and what the recommendations were for the Cliff Street area, and see where we might be able to make some changes.
Could that also include the Eastern Business District?
I guess that's where my question is.
Yeah, we were waiting, weren't we waiting?
We were waiting,
for, like,
now-
more
now-
information on the flood zones
And I'm not against, getting a proposal from Mike to do any of, the legwork, we can get a proposal and look at it. But Mike sat on that committee with us. So those recommendations that came here included Mike in the conversation already.
Jason, I'm not disputing that part of it. All I'm saying is that we've got new DEP regulations
Correct.
coming out Monday.
Supposedly.
And we need to look at it, we need to take a look at it in light of those new regulations.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what we do and in what area
It's all gonna change if there's a strict.
So are we asking Mike to sort of analyze our zoning and the flood zones according to the new DEP?
correct.
It's more of an analysis rather than coming in with a full recommendation right away.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Align the state, align the state standards with.
So
The
he's gonna take a look and analyze what's
Right,
changed.
and then it's gonna be up to us and people on that committee to come up with some recommendations. Because we've got a lot of single-family homes to go with.
Correct. And I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that I just don't know what the role of that committee is. We built that recommendation knowing these regs were coming out, and they all say in it that, or if the new regulations have a higher standard, obviously that has to be followed, a stricter standard.
Right.
Like I said, I have no problem with Mike giving us a proposal to do the work. I just don't wanna see, that all the recommendations, everything, will just get thrown in the garbage and we're starting from scratch.
Oh, I don't think that's
That's
gonna
what I'm
happen.
saying.
I think basically what we're asking for is Mike to look at the whole town, not just the small piece that the committee looked at, and how it affects what our zoning rate is now, and what might need to change, and where we need to focus for those changes, and then it can go back to the ad hoc committee saying, okay, this is now the changes, so like the setup for the ad hoc committee to take a look and make recommendations. Because they might not be the same as in that one session that
Oh, no,
they were looking
yeah,
at.
I get
So
it.
for Mike to do the analysis of the whole town, I think would be a good idea, so we can see how much has changed and how bad it is. So,
You agreeable with that?
Oh, yeah. Just so the planning board does, I worked with Kevin on a floodplain ordinance that DP mandated. So I'm pretty versed on flood insurance rate maps, right, Kevin? We just got that out. Just so you know, the DEP required every municipality to put mandated language about the floodplain in the process, about getting a relief from it. And this is the conversation we had a couple months ago about putting in the land use development chapter, which we recommended that, so that you're looking at land use, you see the floodplain rules. And the idea is, and I think the committee, and Roger was there, that we should have everything, you have the floodplain maps and the land use maps, ideally, they should be the same.
yeah.
So you can see each lot, what's going on, and I think that's what the chairman's
That's
telling
what I
us,
think, yeah, that's
to
what.
see all this and maybe merge it all together so we have a very precise map
Right, so,
showing all the lots.
and what's changing there is the floodplain map.
Yeah.
And we don't know how it's gonna change yet, so that's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna get smaller, I'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Just so also, it also goes in line, so the mitigation plan for the county road that each municipality is annexed, that is due up for update. So within the next 2 months, that process is gonna begin, so it'll go right in line, because all that stuff has to get done, and that mitigation plan will get anyway.
Okay, so,
All on board.
everybody's on board?
Yeah, good.
Is there a motion in a second and a yea or nay to authorize him to do that?
So is he giving us a proposal or doing it?
He's gonna do a proposal.
Proposal.
Yeah.
And then we'll vote on,
Yeah.
do we need to vote on authorizing him to do the proposal? Okay.
I will move that we authorize Michael to do the proposal.
Second.
Chairman Amato?
Yes.
Ms. Lozinski?
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Mr. Kraska?
Yes.
Mr. Cleveland?
Yes.
Ms. Warner?
Yes.
Okay, good. And the last thing I want to talk about, and I got an email from Kevin today requesting that the planning board work on a new housing plan for affordable and workforce housing with the consultant that spoke to the council last fall. And apparently, that request was supposed to come to the planning board last fall. And with Tony leaving, it just kind of slipped through the cracks because I never got it. So what I'd like to do is have the planning board authorize me to work with Kevin because there's going to be some costs involved here. And we have a fairly slim budget, which is why I would like to come up with a proposal for the other thing. Because we've got to find out what it's going to cost and what the scope is going to be. So, can I work directly with Kevin?
I'm wrong with that. Kevin, we have a video of the presentation that Mrs. McManus made to council.
Yeah, you shared it with us.
I did.
Everyone has it, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the video.
we got an email from him today.
Okay.
Yeah.
The video on PowerPoint, and I did speak with our CFO regarding that. That's a perfect opportunity to go. We do have other funding sources, not necessarily from the planning board, that we would be able to potentially utilize to assist in that professional service. But council's desire was exactly what the chairman had explained, was to bring a firm on that had some direct experience within the municipalities adjacent to Somerville that the council felt comfortable the planning board should consider.
Okay.
So do we have to vote to give you permission, or we just
No, no,
thumbs up?
Let's go, let's vote again. I'll make that motion.
I'll say, how about being, being compliant today?
Just want to hear everybody talk.
Chairman Novato?
Yes.
Ms. Lozinski?
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilman Boone?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Mr. Akins? Mr. Kraska?
Yes.
Mr. Cleveland?
Yes.
Ms. Warner? Yes.
Okay. And my goal for all of this is the end of the summer. I'd like to see that over the next couple of months, I don't think we have a lot of applications going, and I'd like to see everything moving. Mike, I'd like to see your proposal by the next meeting.
Absolutely.
And we'll go from there. And hopefully by the next meeting, Kevin and I will work out the details on hiring a consultant for the housing. Okay.
Before we end, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Of Roger and of Mayor. When you guys write these resolutions, I think that there might be a confusion about what is actually coming to the planning board for approval. In particular, resolution ends in 154, designating Northbridge Management Corporation as conditional developer.
That hasn't come to you guys.
Yeah.
I know, but the resolution makes it seem like it came to us.
No, the resolution, I guess the issue is that the resolution came from, what is it, the redevelopment committee. So the redevelopment committee were the ones that created the resolution, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's where it came from.
Okay.
But it was tabled, so you didn't see it.
But what I'm saying is that I got nothing but heartache and grief about this in particular. You guys approved it. No, we didn't. We never saw.
There was a newspaper article online that said we did.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And so this is why I'm trying to figure out,
Yeah.
is it confusion from the implication that it was reviewed by someone and we didn't see any of the plans?
So the issue is that Mr. Deek, if you're watching, Mike, got his information wrong. It was reviewed by, again, the redevelopment committee, came directly from the redevelopment committee to the board, or excuse me, to the council and was tabled. So that is the line that it went to. So that was a leap and a jump to conclusions by Mr. Deek,
That's what I was
published,
trying to
and
clarify.
that is why any members here on the planning board that had to deal with those comments and questions, that is where it came from. So in the resolution itself, it does not say planning board approval.
Right,
We're talking
just-
of plans?
No,
Is it-
it's
a concept
designating a
plan?
developer. There is no concept plan.
Which the planning board would never be involved in.
Correct.
Okay,
Right,
ever.
it's not our
So,
job.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Okay, I just wanted to make that
But when you read the way the resolution comes out, it
People
makes
think
it
we are
seem
doing
as though
planning.
it's been approved. It's been looked at, well, that's what it basically said. I got 15 questions about it, so that's why I wanna get a clarification on
Yeah,
It's
more.
just,
that.
it's just designating a redeveloper.
Right, no, and I
You can't have
understand that.
Everything in every redevelopment area, particularly on the East Main Street redevelopment area, we've got different redevelopers for different pieces of property.
Yes,
And this is just one more step in redeveloping the East End Main Street.
right. So this, we haven't seen any
I haven't
plans,
seen anything.
We haven't seen any.
and there's no move to try to approve anything before the new water regulations come out.
Correct.
Well, and it wouldn't be because the new water regulations are coming out on Monday.
Right.
So it would be moved.
And I don't think there's grandfathering provisions in those.
That I'm not aware of.
I'm not
but,
sure, but.
At the end of the day, it would be moved.
So basically, it's going through the council, not through the planning board.
As
In the end.
correct, as designations for developers always have been.
So maybe next time that could be kind of stated at the very obviously beginning of talking about these things.
So
It's
the
up
heading
before
should
the
be
council.
the heading should be not planning board. Here are the phone numbers, addresses, and emails of the council. Please stop contacting Larry.
The public already has those.
Well, I got
numbers,
questions and I had no idea what people were asking me about, so I was like, well, there is some development that's been approved for East Main Street, but I was like, what are you talking
That's
about?
because
So that's
from
what
that
they're talking
article.
about.
Yes, again, it was Mike Deek.
Mike
He
will
needs
be,
to put in a retraction.
Mike will be calling me in the morning, Roger.
That's fine.
No, I'll stay.
He's gonna call Larry.
He'll be
Well,
sorry.
unless you for a retraction.
I know
He's
this,
sorry.
that's because it was discussed at our meeting, and not discussed at our meeting, it was in the agenda. And I know that Mr. Deek is a follower of what happens in town. So you can also email him, Larry, and let him know, so you can, tell him.
Yeah, I just wanted to know and make sure that nothing was,
I read the article, I read the article myself, and I was
I
was surprised.
Yeah.
I really was, I didn't know you guys had a chance to review it.
It's my understanding, unless something's changed and Kevin's here, we are supposed to have a presentation
Correct.
on Monday.
And just to correct the technicality, it wasn't tabled, it was pulled, so.
Correct.
That's true, I'm sorry, thank you
So
for
I just
correcting.
wanted to make sure that there was no hearing on it. Yeah.
No vote was
But-
taken on
but
it.
Monday, Monday, there'll be a presentation and a consideration on that day as well.
And again, as the chairman said, all it does is put the designation of a developer. It's not a plan, it's not an endorsement, it's not support, it's just
Right, once-
allowing,
But the area has been designated.
that's been
The zone has
designated
already, a long
That's
time
been-
ago, and that's why I think people didn't understand or talk to me. I'm like, that's been a redevelopment zone for forever.
When,
It has to
when
be before
Yeah.
you do it.
Yeah,
Bernie-
so I
Bernie
think
had,
people have forgotten.
Bernie had dark hair and I had hair, when that was first designated.
So it's in the 90s,
That's,
Yeah.
1990s.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Adopted.
So I think that's why people thought we had just approved it, because
Well,
they
I think-
forgot that this 150 years ago was
Yeah.
approved as a redevelopment.
I modified, the board approved it with council, I
Yeah.
think, in '06.
Yeah.
So it's been around.
It's been around a long time.
But the plan was there since the 90s, it was just not finished.
That was probably the most difficult series of meetings as chairman I have ever gone through.
Yeah.
It took years to get it designated because people thought that
You're
the
taking out
town
their
was
home.
gonna take their homes away,
Mhm.
and that wasn't the case.
I remember you were very strident in your statement that no eminent domain would ever happen as long as you were chair.
Right.
And then I affirmed my position as a councilman at the time, that indeed would never happen. And it's never been contemplated, and I'll put
Right,
on the
that's-
record, as long as I'm in the mayor's seat, it will not be used.
So just maybe at the council meeting, when it does come up, if a little brief history of when this was done initially and the process, people will see that it's not something that's new, it's just a continuing process, and that might help educate the public a little bit more.
I believe that the issue is more of what the folks have heard the plans are, that are much more the confusion and concern,
yes.
rather than the fact that it's a redevelopment zone. I believe that they are more nervous about the size and scope of what is being proposed. in
Right,
that
but
area.
the redevelopment zone is, basically you're making up the rules for that zone on the scope of it, right?
Correct, but like
So
I said,
that's what people, I think, are concerned about.
And we did that a long time ago.
That's what I'm saying, I think that history has been brought back because it was so long ago.
no, and I like I said, I think more of the point is that when people see the amount of apartments, the amount of parking, all of these different things that have made its way now all through first from the article and then now Facebook and all other places, that I believe is more of the issue of the concern. I'm sure those are what came to Mr. Friedman.
Oh, yeah, all they heard was, it's been approved. And I kept saying, no, we have not seen it, no, that wasn't enough.
So I think that is where the hang-up is, not so much that it's an area that has been designated as redevelopment. It's more so that it's what is planned to be developed there is the issue.
Yeah, but the people talk to me think we did this as a next step from Main Street. Like, they don't know how old this redevelopment zone is. They either didn't live here or they don't remember. It was before TV and stuff. So I think just giving them the background knowledge of this has been a redevelopment zone since 1990, and we're now,
It's a
figuring
little
it out.
later than that.
Yeah.
It was the late 90s and it was
Yeah.
finalized in 2006.
But I think people think this is our new expansion plan kind of thing. Right, it's been there for a very long time.
And also, I think the lack of interest has caused the public to just,
Well, the town
Forget
has
about
changed, the town has changed quite a bit from when we approved this plan to now. There's been a lot of building and development that's gone on, so it's something that I think people are concerned about as far as density and, you know, the feel of the town, so.
Yeah, and it's the last part of the East Main Street redevelopment area that is proposed to be developed, or one of the last pieces. And, I mean, that whole area that's on the southern side of Main Street has been in need of redevelopment since I was a child, which, by the way, is a long time ago. And back in the 90s, we began the process of seeing what we could do. And in fact, Veterans Memorial Drive was put in the early 90s. And some of the problem areas were removed at that time. There were 3 junkyards down there. It was just not a good place. So compared to what it is now, it's definitely improving, but it needs to be improved further. So anyway, moving right along, I think I've had enough to settle tonight. At this time, I'll open it up to the public. Hearing no public comment, we'll close the public session. Anybody else have anything?
just real quick, Brian, I would encourage the planning board to, if you haven't already, take a ride down my street and take a look at Bateman Taylor. 2 weeks ago, they had 4 brand new fire hydrants laying on their side. They have been installed somewhere, I don't know where, but they're in the ground. And I understand they have to be painted yellow because they're private fire hydrants, so they won't be red like municipal fire hydrants. I didn't know that, so I'm learning even today. But if you get a chance, they're still moving dirt and still crushing rubble, but there's some preliminary foundation work on the western side. There's grading being done all over, and it's been 15 years in the making. So if you have a chance over the next few days, take a look. It's a Phoenix type project. It's literally rising from the ashes. So take a look and feel proud of what we labored for so long to bring to fruition. Ribbon I can't wait to cut in about 18 months, I was told.
Good. All right, motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who's opposed? Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.